evening. This is Chota Bheem versus the Big Boss on the Twitter battleground. Yes, this is the India development debate. The war of words between the Congress and the BJP over the data breach from the Namo app has escalated into a bitter battle, with the Congress president calling the Prime Minister the Big Boss who likes to spy on Indians using the delete Namo app hashtag. Rahul accused the PM's personal app was being used by the BJP to secretly build a personal database of all Indians, which the party could use to its advantage during elections. Now the BJP has hit right back and very quickly, the offensive being led by none other than the INB Minister Smriti Irani herself, taking a jibe at Rahul, saying even Chota Bheem knows the PMO is not snooping on anyone. The BJP also accuses the Congress of selling the personal data of millions of Indians to a secret center in Singapore. Amit Malviya, the IT cell in charge of the BJP, says the URL has suddenly become dysfunctional, a clear sign that all is not well with India's grand old party. The all-out war between the BJP and the Congress on the digital space and the app war, as we are calling it, is a big topic of discussion right here on the India development debate. I've got Narendra Taneja representing the BJP, Muhammad Khan from the Congress party, and Srinivas Kohli, independent cyber security researcher. And over the next 30 minutes, we hope to achieve a lot of ground on what is really the truth behind the app wars and how insecure your data has been, whether you've had the Congress or the Namo app. So thank you very much, each one of you, for joining us. And Narendra Taneja, I'm going to ask you a question point blank, just like I plan to ask Muhammad Khan of the Congress. I don't want to beat around the bush. Was citizen data captured and shared with a third party abroad without permission?
No. This is not correct. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi said in his tweet yesterday, saying I am Prime Minister of India and I am taking this data of Indians and giving it to American company, was absolutely incorrect, and if you allow me, nonsense.
Okay, so the BJP is categorically denying that none of this data was shared with a third party overseas without permission. Muhammad Khan, on what basis is Rahul Gandhi making this sensational claim that the Namo app secretly records audio, video and contacts of users, their friends and also their family? What is the basis of an assumption and an allegation like that?
Right. So first of all, I would like to correct the BJP spokesperson. They are absolutely guilty of stealing data. It is now a proven fact and not a statement of opinion that 15 lakh NCC cadets who innocently came onto the Narendra Modi app, their data has been stolen or shared without their permission, pick whichever term you like. Two, the answer to your question is this. There is online right now a user, Twitter user, who has put out a detailed series of videos providing a forensic audit of the app. He's even given you the name of the agency which is based in the United States with whom this information is shared. Anyone can go and see this. These people have lied consistently and on the record about this position. I would also like to take this opportunity, Supriya ji, to tell you that this week began with them making completely baseless allegations. Ravi Shankar Prasad came out on the basis of newspaper reports and made allegations that Rahul ji had met with Cambridge Analytica founder. They forgot that if you live in a glass house, you should not throw stones, because the very next day, an expose came out where the Indian director of Cambridge Analytica's Indian arm came out and said, I've been in touch with 4 BJP leaders. He named them from 2012. And our mandate was, how do we destabilize the Congress? They were exposed, they went silent. Not a word on that after that. They have been embarrassed, they have been caught, and now today this is yet another desperate attempt, Supriya ji, to turn the debate around. The nation sees through these people. And you know, Supriya ji, in conclusion, I will simply say this. You and I both know this is the BJP's oldest trick in the book to divert attention from the tragic issue of the 59 Indians who died, the 39 Indians who died in Mosul on their watch and which they lied about. We've moved a privilege motion and they can try and distract as much as they want. This is not going to go anywhere.
You know, right. While my heart goes out to the 39 Indians who lost their lives there and the tragic way it ended, I really think as Indians we need to be very, very worried about our own data. And before I go across, I think Mr. Taneja has a quick point to make there. I do want to take it to the expert on the show as well. Mr. Taneja, go ahead. I know you have a rebuttal for Muhammad Khan, and he's coming out very sharply and saying it's proven now that you've taken data and the data has been transferred. And this is a diversionary tactic for all.
Quick, 3 points. Number one, quick points. You see, we are talking here of cyberspace. We are talking of something which is by very nature global. For lots of people, including the, things are, because it's technology based, things are dynamic. It's not like stone where you just do something once and it's cast in iron. Technology changing, upgrades keep coming when you have got access or the WhatsApp and so many others. So if those things are being interpreted by them, that's a different story altogether. This simply shows these people are technology illiterate. So what do you do with such people? Number 2 point. Why they have taken down their own app today? Why? Because they have been, wiring all these data. We don't know what they are doing, but all data that on the Congress website have been, on the Congress app has been going to Singapore. Why are you exporting it to Singapore? What is the motive? Why are you trying to do that? Have you taken permission from all these people? And they have taken their app down. Why?
All right.
Number 3 point. They are doing all this tamasha in the tweet by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Only one thing, because they are involved in Cambridge Analytica. They were the client, and Cambridge Analytica was helping them against a certain fee. We know all this story. This is basically a tactic so that they can divert the attention from the real issue, that they were helped by Cambridge Analytica.
Right. Okay. I cannot let this be a slugfest between the Congress and the BJP. You've raised some serious allegations. I will go back to Mohammad Khan to asking that, but I will go across to Srinivas for just a minute. Srinivas, the BJP categorically states that for the app, there are commonly asked permission for apps, and it doesn't tantamount to snooping. As an expert, does that argument cut ice with you, that these are just commonly asked questions on apps and this is not snooping really?
So I would agree and disagree with the statement. It's a commonly asked permission, yes, but you could also design an app without asking those permissions. At the same time, what the data is being collected can definitely be used for snooping. And we don't know, because we have no transparency, we have no political transparency in the current parties, right? Both the parties are having similar issues, and it's not a single party issue. If you come down south, you see that the Chandrababu Naidu, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, has his own app, and this is an issue across the country. What we need is Election Commission to step in and actually review it, along with the data protection draft law when it's being made public end of this month. So I will not agree with both the political parties here and state that this data can be misused, and probably is being misused, because we see trolls accusing us whenever we raise some issues. So if there are trolls from either parties, if we are supporting any important public social issue, we are probably being snooped by these political parties on social media, and they are trying to accuse us of creating fake news. And we have seen this often with, especially with the Aadhaar debate. The BJP has denied that there are any data leakages, even though it's proven. So there are issues of fake news, there are issues of political parties trying to retaliate against researchers and people who are raising major issues by actually surveilling them on social media.
Where is the Rahul Gandhi tweet? All right, Srinivas, that's a very valid and perhaps a very sane way to put it, that both sides are to be blamed, and I will take the blame to the Congress party now. Mohammad Khan, some of the points that Mr. Taneja made, and if the Congress was indeed following the highest standards of data privacy that you claim that you do, why did the Indian National Congress delete its app from Play Store this morning? And can you deny that the Congress party also sends data from its app to Singapore, as alleged by this government's top minister Smriti Irani?
Well, of course, that is a question I definitely want to answer, and I will answer it in the following terms. This was a defunct app. It had not been utilized by anyone in the last 5 months. It did not claim to do any of the things that the Narendra Modi app claimed to do, nor did it collect the kind of deep and pervasive information that the Narendra Modi app did. It was an app for you to give your information so that you could get in touch with the Congress. We migrated. In fact, one of the things our social media head, Ms. Divya Spandana, pointed out today in the public domain is that all of the so-called evidence used by these people is being retrieved from archives which have long been defunct. Now, this information had migrated to the INC platform, which we take great pride in telling you is encrypted. And we make the challenge to the BJP on your face right here. If you have the courage, if you have the evidence, all the agencies are at your disposal. Yet, if you have the slightest bit of evidence, prove it. all these empty claims that you make. I'm loving this debate, Shri Supriya ji, because the more the BJP brings this to attention, the more it is being exposed for the kind of party it is. A party that is data hungry, a party that carried out the largest state organized surveillance operation through Aadhaar, a party that argued against the right to privacy. Let us never forget that. This is a party that argued against the right to privacy in the Supreme Court. They can never deny that. And today, two big exposés. I just saw that you were naming the gentleman on Twitter, so I can of course also name him. Elliot Anderson is I believe it's called a nom de plume that he is using, the anonymous identity, who has exposed these people. And they have been trying to identify him and catch him. So look at the hilarious aspect of all of this. These people are condemned. Let them make all the noise they want.
Okay. Okay. All right. Mohammed Khan, you know, while you say that this was a defunct app, why did it have to be deleted from the Play Store only today is a question that many people will ask of the Congress party. But back to the BJP. And Mr. Taneja, the BJP in its statement says analysis on user data is done to offer the most contextual content. This is the same language that we hear from the likes of Facebook and Google use. The point is, do you seek permission? Do you take permission from users who are using your app? Are they blissfully unaware, just like when they are using Facebook and Google? Because they say that exactly, right? To give more contextual and, you know, more relevant content is why we are doing this. And that's exactly what the BJP seems to be saying too.
No. When you use Google and millions and billions do that, there is something called Google Analytics. I mean, this is not sharing information, sharing your data. These are two completely different things. These are digital platforms. These are technology platforms. So these things are common. It does not mean, you know, that you are sharing data or you are collecting data and then sharing. You know, like if you see carefully what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said yesterday, he said, I am the Prime Minister of India. I take this information from you and give to friends in the US. You know, this is a very, very serious charge. He said these kind of charges in the past have been made only responsible charges only by one man. His name is Arvind Kejriwal. Now Rahul Gandhi is the next Kejriwal. He is also going to apologize very soon for such thing. All I am saying is that you are leader of a party. If you have some evidence that our Prime Minister is doing it, with all due respect, Mr. Khan, please on this channel, this show, please give us the evidence. When did we, you know,
Mr. Taneja, that's not my question, Mr. Taneja.
Friends in the West, when did you do? If you have any evidence, please give the evidence. And if you don't have evidence, apologize.
Can I answer it, please?
Just
no,
last
that
line,
wasn't my question. My question was very direct.
Because they have no narratives. They talk about farmers, they talk about different things.
Okay.
Just let me finish my sentence.
So you think they don't have a political narrative, so they're doing an app war. Very quickly, 30 seconds, Mohammed Khan.
They have no alternative narratives to our...
30 seconds is more than enough. Narendra ji, my answer to you is as follows. And
okay. Mohammed Khan, it's a very grave allegation your way. You don't have an alternative narrative, and which is why you're going into all of this.
Yeah. On the subject of the alternative narrative, 30 seconds. Now, if you go to the Twitter account of your Amit Malviya, you will see he has pinned a tweet. And this to me is the most telling tweet. He says, friends, over the last few days you would have started receiving a surge of anti-BJP messages. Please disregard them, so on and so forth. Sir, this entire debate in which you are getting mired in deeper and deeper every day proves to me one thing that I've suspected for the last year. You are losing ground on social media. Because you've been exposed, organically support is moving away from you. You are desperate to try and flip in the blame on something else. You're talking about narrative. The narrative is fast turning against you. You asked for proof. Sir, the proof has been there online for 3 days. Avnish Rai, the director, came on television of the Indian arm of Cambridge Analytica, named your 4 leaders. What did you do? You didn't even issue a word of statement after that. One print media carried it, one online, one channel, digital, electronic channel carried it.
Okay.
No response from you. We've presented you with nothing but evidences against your government over the last 4 years. If you're a weak government that has no spine to act, that's not my fault.
Okay. Mohammed Khan, your 30 seconds. Okay, Mohammed Khan, your 30 seconds are over. I will go across to the expert who wanted to make a point that Mr. Narendra Taneja was making, and Srinivas, go ahead.
So, I'd like to be a bit analytical here and question both the parties. I'd like to question both the parties as why would they need to collect any of the information. Also, I'd like to highlight that the Narendra Modi application is not the official application of the PMO. There is another application by the PMO. Yet the PMO is promoting the Narendra Modi application. the distinction between politics and governance is slowly being erased in this current government, and that's a serious issue. By stating that, I will also say that we need to decrease the data collection. Any party, any private app needs to stop collecting data. The question of whether it can be used for surveillance is a different issue. If it's being collected, it can be used. We don't know if it's being used, and that's where we need to make sure that they are not collecting data in the first place.
Okay. You know, I will take a point forward of Elliot Anderson, who exposed the vulnerabilities of the Namo app, now says that the privacy settings have been changed. Mr. Taneja, what sort of corrections have you made, and if it was all fine, why did you make those corrections? And I also want you to respond to the broader point, that the expert on the panel says. The Namo app is not a PMO app. Why is it being supported, and why is it being promoted by the Prime Minister's office? Are we blurring political and governance lines here?
First of all, no. You know, it's a BJP government and he's the BJP Prime Minister. It's the BJP agenda, manifesto, which he is executing, is implementing. That's the mandate from the people of India. That's the mandate. In democracy, that's how it works. Number two, you are saying that, you see, when you have got a technology platform like an app, like on WhatsApp, I keep getting all kind of updates all the time. So these are just the updates. It's a normal thing. If you go into the history of the app, you will see many updates and changes. So it's very normal, those who are familiar with the technology. I don't claim I'm a technology czar like Sam Petroda, who's advising these days to Rahul Gandhi. I'm not. But I know enough about these things. The question here is, because Congress has no alternative narrative, they can say whatever, that the people, Mr. Khan, people of India will decide whether we are doing good job or not. But the question is, you see, the question is that, you know, whether we are doing a good job or not, that the people of India will decide. In Karnataka, they are going to give their verdict on the issue. The question is, they have no alternative to what the fantastic work that our government is doing at the center, across the state. They have no narrative. So this is just a tactic. Every day they come up with something new. It was Lingayat, North-South divide, now this thing. So this is now how politics functions. This is basically a very typical club kind of politics that Congress is playing. Let them do it. It actually is going to our advantage. We are absolutely delighted. Chota Bheem, Amrit Chitrakatha, that kind of, you know, this kind of game they are playing. Let them play. We are very happy with it. Our focus is on where it should be, and we're going to win 2019 with 350 seats, Mr. Khan. I challenge you. We will talk in this very show next year on this, and we will. And the people of India are going to tell you the truth.
Okay. You haven't given me the point about why the privacy settings had to be changed. This isn't just one other setting being changed in the app. But Mohammad Khan, our expert on the show, Srinivas, says he has an issue with political parties collecting data. Why do you need to do that? And the Congress is to be blamed as well.
Well, actually, well, we have no app currently. As you yourself pointed out, the only thing that resembled an app has been deleted. That app was a very rudimentary app. And our objective is not to gain information on our followers. We don't use the kind of sophisticated methodry these people do to try and target people and send vulgar messages against opposition party leaders. It was so hilarious right now. Narendra ji bhool gaye. They used to talk about Chota Bheem and Amrit Chitrakatha. Ye bhool gaye ki ye terminology ijad to aap logon ne hi ki hai. Iske authors to aap hai. And finally, I want to say this, sir. Now I can say without the least doubt, with full responsibility, you are a failed government. You have failed on every single index. Social media was your last bastion, where you sold your message to the millions, you lied, you felt
country doesn't listen to you, Mr. Khan. Country doesn't listen to you, unfortunately. You don't exist. You don't exist for the people of India. You don't matter. You don't exist for the people of this country. That's the tragedy.
So don't, Taneja sahab, if I'm replying to you, have the courage to hear it out. Tomorrow,
whatever number
a year from now, we may indeed be having this debate, but you will not be speaking on behalf of the government, that I'm sure.
Okay. I'm sorry. We'll have to keep this civil, and we will have to stick to the topic of discussion, which is the app war, which is the data war. Srinivas, I want to come to you. 1 second. Srinivas, I want to come to you. Is it fair to conclude here, and given the very, heated argument we've had, is it fair to conclude that for corporations and for political parties, data mining is clearly the new reality? Some do it for profits, and others perhaps are doing it for political gains. Srinivas.
So what you need to understand about data is information is power, and both corporations and the political parties want to retain this power on us, on our citizens. So it's very important right now we recognize this and we strip both corporates and political parties of this very power they own on us by making sure that a new data protection law make sure that there is increased political transparency and increased transparency across corporates on what data they are collecting, and make sure that any sharing of data for whatsoever reasons or any aggregation of data, legally or illegally, needs to be audited and needs to be minimized. And both the parties right now are not putting in any effort to do that. They're just blaming each other, and unfortunately this is not going to solve the issue.
I think you really hit the nail on its head. That's exactly my point. It's a pity that instead of having a comprehensive debate on data privacy, political parties, whether on this show or on other shows or at each other or on Twitter, are trading charges at each other. They are not looking at a comprehensive solution to this problem, because believe you me, this sort of data breach is not going to lead us to a comfortable position. And that's exactly my point to you, both Mr. Taneja and Mr. Khan. Why are political parties so busy trading charges at each other? Why are we not looking to correct this situation?
With technology available, governments are collecting data for the different purpose, that is to help the people, for the welfare of the people. It's happening the world over. If somebody wants to suggest that we have data, yesterday people were saying the same thing for Aadhaar. You know, it went on and on and on and on and on. Now the question is that, you know, I mean, the data collected by Congress party app, are they stooping of Punjab and Karnataka and Pondicherry and Punjab? We are not saying that. There is no such allegation we are making. I mean, only those people who don't understand technology would make such charges. But if you want to say, if you hate the government, a political party or a prime minister, and you basically want to manufacture allegation, there is no end of it. People can say that. That's a totally different story. But data being collected by us is for a specific purpose. And as far as this app is concerned, if you have submitted your email, it can never ever be misused. Never ever.
Supriya, can I reply now?
Mohammed Khan, you want to come in on that? Instead of trading charges, why don't political parties get together? Because
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
a very, very grave, serious issue there.
I'll tell you. First of all, I was very heartened to hear Mr. Taneja say that we are not making these allegations of you snooping. In fact, anyone who's making that allegation does not understand technology. So I am so happy to hear you say that, because right now, earlier today, Ms. Smriti Irani, the very learned Ms. Smriti Irani, our former education minister, has made this accusation using the word snooping. You can see it on her Twitter. It's not been deleted. So I'm glad to see that within your party there is a variance of opinion. Number two, sir, we have tried to work with you. We don't hate you. We are the Congress party. We've existed long before you and we'll exist long after you're gone. You are a fad that is designed to fuel the worst emotions of human beings and show our countrymen, to fuel within our countrymen some of the basest aspirations, which I don't understand why you do. You've been given a golden opportunity to govern. You squandered it. In the words of Mr. Arun Shuri, you win elections for the sake of winning the next election. I'm sorry, sir. We tried working with you for the first 3 years. You ridiculed us, humiliated us, and used our attempts.
I mean, you love to write orbit of people. Do that. You are all that you're doing in this show is write our orbit. If that's your hobby, please do that. Who cares? If you are in the program only to write our orbit, please do that.
I know you love interrupting, but the fact is today you are on the wrong side. Every piece of evidence
really matter.
You can shout all you like.
That's what you are doing. So it does really matter.
Fine man such as
people of India, people of India are going to decide
the industry. And all because of a party
not you,
that only cares for
Gentlemen, I am sorry, but this can't go on. Gentlemen, I am sorry. Okay, gentlemen, I'm sorry, but I'll have to give the last word to the expert on the show. And Srinivas, you know, you were...
The last thing you care for
Okay, one second. How do we correct the situation was my question. Both these gentlemen have not given me the solution. They are busy trading charges, just like their parties are. Srinivas, you know, the Election Commission you alluded to earlier in your answer needs to step in, and obviously there's a data privacy law that's in the works as well. Does the data privacy law now need to also talk about data privacy in the context of political parties? Because this is at the heart of impacting our electoral, our democratic process on both sides of the political spectrum. What sort of solutions and what sort of intervention should the Election Commission be looking at doing in this? Srinivas.
So it's very important that Election Commission brings in guidelines on how political parties behave on both social media and in the internet. especially during when the model code of conduct is in effect. But the actual issue is, can I as a voter find out what data the political party has on me? Do I have a right to know? And that is something which is very important the new data protection law needs to bring in. And I should have a right to delete this data, which unfortunately is not happening in the case of Aadhaar. You do not have a right to get your data deleted, and it's being forced onto you. Similarly, political parties, I don't think will try to erase any of the data they have on us. And this is going to be important considering how people shift political parties every now and then. So if every party has everybody's data, all you're looking at is information warfare between parties. And this is literally internal war on social media, and this is bad for us. So it's very much important that we need to audit these political parties, and it needs to be independent audits and not just by the Election Commission.
Right. Okay, so independent audits of the data that they possess by, independent autonomous institutions, not just the Election Commission. But on that note, completely out of time on this leg of the show, but one thing is certain, that we all thought that data and data wars and app wars are things that exist in fictional and, TV series programs. It looks like it's very much a reality in electoral processes, in data is important, and I think political parties are finding this mine of data available before them, but that should not and must not impact our electoral process. The debate will continue between the BJP and the Congress, but we wish and we keep our fingers crossed that politicians can set aside their partisan differences, come together and arrive at a solution, because data privacy and data not impacting democracy is really at the heart of this big debate. Thanks very much for being with us on the India Development Debate this evening.
Across verticals, there's one thing in common. By seeing where the world is going, we're helping our investors, partners and customers get there ahead of anyone else. Embassy, future first.
The war between the BJP and the Congress in the digital space escalates. Rahul Gandhi says PM Modi is the big boss who uses his Namo app to secretly spy on Indians. The BJP hits back. INB Minister Smriti Irani takes a jibe at Rahul Gandhi, saying that even Chota Bheem knows seeking info on apps isn't snooping. Appeasement politics takes over poll round Karnataka after the Congress backs for a religious minority tag for the Lingayats. BJP President Amit Shah reaches out to woo the community, visits 110-year-old revered seer of the Lingayats. CBI gets 5-day custody of former media baron Peter Mukherjee in connection with the INX media case. Mukherjee will be produced before the special CBI court now on the 31st of March. 7 months after it banned triple talaq, Supreme Court agrees to examine the constitutional validity of polygamy and nikah halala, issues notices to the Centre and the Law Commission asking them to make their stance clear on a batch of petitions that wants to make the two practices unconstitutional. Southern states step up the attack on the Modi government over the disparity in sharing revenue collections. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah joins forces with the Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu to accuse the centre of diverting funds from the South Kitty for development activities in the northern states. The government will borrow 2.88 lakh crore in the first half of FY19. That's 22% less than what it did in the same period last year. In a change in strategy, the government will also borrow money for a shorter duration, a move that many believe will ease the pressure on local debt markets. Indian equities start on a strong note as positive global cues lift sentiment. The Nifty reclaims 10,100 thanks to a surge in PSU bank stocks. Investment guru Mark Farber advocates caution, warning that the market could correct 20% from the current levels. JSW Group Chairman Sajjan Jindal comes down heavily against SR Steel's bankers after he wasn't allowed to bid. Asserts that creditors perhaps didn't want his money. In a clear dig at ArcelorMittal and New Metal, Jindal reiterates his demand that promoters of defaulting companies should be barred from bidding. In fresh signs of hostility between the United States and Russia, the Trump administration makes good on its promise, expels 60 diplomats and orders a shutdown of a consulate in Seattle. The move comes as Western nations have joined forces against Putin over his alleged role in the poisoning of a former spy in Britain. Disgraced Australian cricketer Steve Smith steps down as the captain of Rajasthan Royals, even as cricket fans across the world seek a life ban on the players involved in the ball tampering. Reports suggest that former Aussie vice captain may also lose his place in IPL team Hyderabad Sunrisers. Good evening, this is Top 10 Act 10 and let's go straight into it. It is Chota Bheem versus the big boss on the Twitter battleground. The war of words between the Congress and the BJP over the data breach from the Namo app has escalated into a bitter battle, with the Congress president calling the Prime Minister a big boss who likes to spy on Indians. Using the Delete Namo app hashtag, Rahul accused the PM's personal app for being used by the BJP to secretly build a personal database of all Indians that the party used to its advantage during elections. The BJP has hit back and hit back quickly, with IMB Minister Smriti Irani taking a jibe at Rahul Gandhi, saying even Chota Bheem knows that the PMO is not snooping down on anybody.
आज नमो ऐप के जो विस्तृत डिटेल्स आए हैं उसमें ऑडियो, वीडियो, कॉन्टैक्ट, मित्र, परिवार, आपके घूम-घाम के तरीके, लोकेशन, छुट्टियां, तो मैं समझता हूं कि ये वो बिग बॉस जैसा प्रयत्न है जो सब कुछ जानता है, जानने का प्रयत्न करता है, स्पाई करके भारतीयों को.
Analysis is not equivalent to snooping or spying. I think Mr. Rahul Gandhi has to learn this. अगर एक स्मार्ट एप्लीकेशन है और उसमें स्मार्ट एप्लीकेशन में आपने एक प्लेटफॉर्म रखा है कि आप मित्रों का एक समूह, जिसको अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं फ्रेंड का एक ग्रुप बनाएंगे, तो स्वाभाविक रूप से आप कॉन्टैक्ट को भी एक्सेस देंगे, तभी जाके फ्रेंड्स और मित्रों का एक समूह बन सकता है, वरना नहीं बन सकता है. यह केवल नमो ऐप का ही नहीं है, यह आप किसी भी स्मार्ट ऐप को देखेंगे. और मैंने बहुत सारे स्मार्ट ऐप, जो हमारा चौथा स्तंभ जिसको हम मीडिया कहते हैं, मीडिया के भी लगभग सभी मीडिया हाउसेस के ऐप्स थे.
अगर ये आरोप गलत है, ये आरोप हमने नहीं लगाया, किसी फ्रेंच सिक्योरिटी रिसर्चर ने लगाया, तो इसका क्या जवाब है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी के वेबसाइट में जो प्रिवेसी पॉलिसी थी उसका संशोधन किया गया. अगर वो उसका जवाब नहीं देते हैं, इसका मतलब ये साबित होता है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन जिनको वो पे स्मार्ट से पहले कॉन्फिडेंशियल कह रहे हैं, उसी इंफॉर्मेशन को उन्होंने शेयर किया है.
The Congress party has not been responding to it. They have not been giving any clear responses. On the contrary, they are trying to deflect attention of the people by raising issues other than the questions that have been asked to them.
BJP President Amit Shah today began his two-day tour of pole-bound Karnataka by visiting and seeking the blessings of 110-year-old Sri Sivakumara Swami. He's a revered seer of the Lingayat community. Now, his meeting with the seer is being seen as an attempt to reach out to the Lingayats, who are numerically and politically powerful in the state and form a major voter base for the BJP. Remember, this visit comes in the backdrop of Siddaramaya's government's move to recommend to the centre that a religious minority tag be granted to the Lingayats, an attempt to wean away a section of them from the BJP. Promising to make Yediyurappa the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Amit Shah claimed that the Siddaramaya government brought the proposal not because of its love for the community, but instead to prevent Yediyurappa from becoming Chief Minister.
कर्नाटक के आशीर्वाद से नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री बने और केंद्र में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार आई, तब एक किसान उत्पाद को एक प्रकार से सुरक्षा देने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने किया। मैंने सिद्धरामैया जैसा आर्टिस्ट मेरे जीवन में नहीं देखा है। कोई विकास नहीं किया, पूरा विकास जमा पड़ा है, मगर इस तरह से घूमते हैं जैसे कर्नाटक के अंदर देश में सबसे ज्यादा विकास हुआ।
A Delhi court today granted CBI 5-day custody of Peter Mukherjee in the INX media case. The court allowed CBI custody after the investigative agency claimed that it was absolutely necessary to question Mukherjee and Karti Chidambaram in the same room. The court has also allowed the CBI's plea to formally arrest Mukherjee in the case. Remember, just yesterday the CBI officials had taken Mukherjee, who'd been lodged in Arthur Road jail here in Mumbai in the Sheena Bora murder case, to New Delhi for interrogation in the INX media case, which also involves Karti Chidambaram. The Supreme Court, meanwhile, is all set to examine the constitutional validity of polygamy that allows Muslim men to marry more than one woman, and nikah halala that requires a female divorcee to marry somebody else, consummate marriage, and then get a divorce to remarry her previous husband. The top court has issued a notice to the Centre and the Law Commission asking them to make their stand clear on petitions demanding the abolishment of both these practices. Meenakshi Bhanja, our colleague from Mirror Now, on details on what the Supreme Court wants. Well, that's right. Coming close on the heels of the Supreme Court's ruling which had rendered the practice of talaq-e-biddat as unconstitutional, today the top court has gone ahead and admitted these batch of petitions which is looking for the Supreme Court's intervention to have a relook at these practices of polygamy and also the other practices pertaining to aspects of Muslim personal law. So this is significant because it was only recently after the Supreme Court rendered the practice of talaq-e-biddat as unconstitutional that the government brought the Triple Talaq bill which has passed muster in the Lok Sabha. It is currently pending in the Rajya Sabha, and with the top court today going ahead and admitting this other petition which will go on to examine the other aspects of Muslim personal law including the practice of polygamy, it will become hugely interesting, especially with the top court now seeking the responses of the central government and the other parties. It will become clear what kind of a position the union government is taking or articulating in this aspect, and also it is going to be a larger bench composition of the top court, the constitution bench, which will examine these practices in the foreseeable future. Almost a year ahead of the crucial 2019 election, a bitter battle seems to have broken out between the differential treatment of northern and southern states. Chief ministers have slammed the centre for the terms of reference of the Fifth Finance Commission and so the devolution of taxes that the south believes are in favour of the north. But the reports on what the bone of contention here is.
The government has drawn the ire of the southern states in the country for modifying one of the key elements of the terms of reference of the 15th Finance Commission. As per the terms of reference of the current Finance Commission, the Finance Commission will be taking population data as per the census of 2011 as opposed to the 1972 data which have been taken as past practice. Now the states of southern India have been alleging that this creates a bias in the devolution of tax proceeds because they claim that the population in their respective states have grown at a slower pace as compared to northern states, and at a point in population data is a key factor in deciding the tax devolution between central and states. They're saying that the southern states will be unfairly. Now, given the fact that this roadblock or this concern has been raised by the southern state finance ministers, it remains to be seen how the government tackles the entire problem.
Still ahead here on the show, the government will borrow 2.88 lakh crore in the first half of FY19. That's 22% lesser than what it did in the same period last year. A change in strategy as well. Government will borrow money for a shorter duration than it typically does. Indian equities start on a strong note as positive global cues lift sentiment. The Nifty reclaims 10,100, boosted by a surge in bank stocks. JSW Group Chairman Sachin Jindal comes down heavily against SR Steel's bankers after he wasn't allowed to bid. Asserts that creditors perhaps didn't want to get more money. There are signs of hostility between the US and Russia. The Trump administration expelled 60 diplomats and shut down a consulate in Seattle. Disgraced Australian cricketer Steve Smith steps down as the captain of Rajasthan Royals. Even as cricket fans across the world are seeking a life ban on the players involved in ball tampering. Processes. Data is important, and I think political parties are finding this mine of data available before them, but that should not and must not impact our electoral process. The debate will continue between the BJP and the Congress, but we wish and we keep our fingers crossed that politicians can set aside their partisan differences, come together and arrive at a solution, because data privacy and data not impacting democracy is really at the heart of this big debate. Thanks very much for being with us on the India Development Debate this evening.